There are a few things as annoying as constantly redoing the same work over and over again. I've always been frustrated inside of Illustrator when I went ahead and I had a very complex selection. I made that selection only to find out that later on I had to make that same selection again and again and again. So it's great that Illustrator has the ability to actually save your selections. Few people are aware of this particular feature, but it can be a great time saver. For example, let's say I go ahead and I choose to, let's say, select this shape here, and I'll select this shape right here, and maybe I'll also select this shape, and let's do this shape, and let's also select this text. I can now go to the select menu and choose Save Selection, and I'll call this one my favorite selection. Click OK. Now if I deselect those shapes and I decide later on, oh, I need to select those objects again, maybe I want to add drop shadows to them or something for that matter, I could go over here to the select menu and choose my favorite selection, and now those become selected. What Illustrator is memorizing or remembering are which objects themselves are selected. This is actually great because it can be used in tandem or in combination with some of the other selection techniques that we've already learned. For example, if I go ahead now and I choose, let's say, this yellow, and I go ahead now and I choose select, and I choose same, and I choose fill color. So now I have all my yellow shapes. Now, in all honesty, my favorite selection is not very descriptive or may not be very helpful. But here would be a good example of where this might help. I can now go to the select menu and choose Save Selection and call this one Yellow Objects. So now at any time I'm working in, let's say I want to change the shade, or I want to change that yellow, or I want to do something with those particular yellow objects, I can go to the select menu and choose Yellow Objects, and now those objects become selected. And like I said, since it memorizes the objects themselves and not anything else, I can move this object here, and I can scale it to be bigger. It doesn't make a difference. The next time that I choose select and I choose yellow objects, those two objects become selected. Again, it's simply because the objects themselves are memorized, not anything else as far as their position on the page, so on and so forth. I'm going to press undo just a few times to go back to where I was before. Like I said, you can use this ability to save your selections at any time. When you go to the select menu here, you can choose Edit Selection, and then you could choose, let's say I don't need my favorite selection anymore, choose to delete that one, it won't get in the way, click OK, and I'm done. The beautiful thing about saving selections inside of Illustrator is that they get saved into your file. So for example, if you're working on a file, whether it's a template or whether it's some other kind of file that you know you're going to be reusing over and over again, it may make a lot of sense for you to save a whole bunch of selections inside of that file. And then each time that you open up that file to edit it, you have those selections available to you. So they don't get thrown away when you close your file. They actually live inside the file, and if you now transfer that file to somebody else, they'll have the ability to make those selections as well. So you can do that. For example, you have objects that are for a specific type of style number or so on and so forth, or for a specific use. If you have certain text that maybe belong somewhere, well, you can always specify things and put things on their own layers. It's also possible to very easily create your saved selections, and that way they'll always be available inside of the file, and you could use them as you need.